Etornam, tell me what is in the trends
Okay,
today.
so I think from yesterday up till this morning, up till now, Efia Odo has been trending. Number one, because she says she's no longer affiliated with Eats Avenue. Some time back, she said on a show that she owns 40% of the restaurant. And so people thought, okay, yeah, it's your business, whatever. And then now she goes on to say she's no longer affiliated with them. There are people who say that she was actually sacked. Now, if you co-founded the place and you own 40% like you claim, can you just be sacked? I think that's one question. The second thing is also the fact that she tweeted and said, eat there at your own risk. I mean, I don't know what is going on between her and the owner, but
You mean the co-owner?
yes, she claimed she co-founded
So you mean
it.
her and the co-founder?
Yes, her and her co-founder
Great.
at Eats Avenue. I don't know what is going on between the two of them, but can she be sued? Like, I feel like that
Maybe
tweet
she
was
was
a
bought
bit,
out. Maybe she was bought out
but
of
to
the
say
business.
eat there at your own risk, because that is where people have a problem with it. Because it's
Yes.
fine if I no longer work with you, but it's like, okay, I'm not working with this institution any longer, and then I go around bad mouthing them
Yeah.
unless I have evidence. There
That
is
something
no,
is not right.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that statement is, yes, definitely.
Can be taken to court, and so
Yeah.
she's been trending
Because that
people
is
have-
somebody's business,
yeah.
right?
And
That you were a part of.
formally, you even said that it was yours as well. You own 40%. That's almost like half of
Yeah.
ownership for the business. But yeah, she's no longer with them, and people are talking about the fact that, and those people who try and bring the funny jabs in it, that Sister Efia will be so happy because that they have this sort of beef going on between the two of them. We'll be so happy that Efia Odo is no longer affiliated with them, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's the conversation. It's not. I don't really see why it's such a big deal, though. I mean, she was working with someone. She no longer works with them. She decided to stop. And she's a personality. She shares her opinion. She's someone that is really vocal, even if you listen to her podcast and all of that. And she says, it's there at your own risk. If you believe Efia Odo so much, please don't eat there. If you don't, please continue doing so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not anything that should be blown out of proportion. It's one of those things, some of those things. I think we've all had people that we've maybe worked with or been like that with, and then we had some form of a falling out, and then everyone has their side to the story. And I always say that a lot of things are not so black and white. There are a lot of nuances.
Yeah.
In
a lot of gray areas.
Yeah. And so we cannot judge anything by hearing just one side of the story until we know that, okay, this in fact happened. This is why she was fired, in quotes.
Yeah, but
This is
why are people concluding that she was fired?
I
What if
don't
she
know.
just left?
Well, according to her, she says she's no longer affiliated
Exactly.
with them. So it's possible.
Yeah, yes, I'm no longer affiliated with this company. Shouldn't mean that I was fired. Maybe I walked away. Maybe I didn't want to be a part of it anymore and I
But
walked
Natalia,
away.
you're talking as if you don't know that once you're someone who puts yourself out there, people will like to spin a narrative on your life regardless. Anything
True.
that will make me feel good about your downfall, in quotes, is we've seen several times where someone has even made a statement and it didn't mean something, and they woke up the next day to see themselves trending.
Yeah,
And they're like,
for the
okay,
wrong
for the very wrong
reasons, yeah.
reasons. I think that once you're someone that is quote unquote popular, famous, an influencer, a celebrity, all of that, and you cannot police your every word. You cannot police your every
you
tweet.
cannot.
People want to give interpretation to whatever they see, and you have to allow them because they're entitled to their own opinion. So if they
True.
want to say you've been fired and you were not fired, you decided to leave, I mean, that's
I
it.
get what you mean.
Knowing Efia Odo, she might probably even start explaining herself very soon, somewhere,
Yeah.
further tweeting a video
Yeah,
somewhere.
or on her podcast.
On
one of
her
these
podcast,
days.
she's not
Yeah.
going to let it
I
go
know.
like that.
But why do people do that though? I remember a couple of days ago, I put out a tweet that said, "Nothing changes if nothing changes," and when I was writing that, I actually meant that because of Charlie, some horrible long time ago relationship that I was in.
Ish.
So it really had nothing to do with nothing. But when I
Yeah.
posted that, I saw that everybody perceived it as a political statement. Right? Nothing changes if nothing changes. It's like people are saying, oh, so you're saying that maybe the present government have to be changed. And I'm like, oh my God, how? Like, It was a last. It didn't even cross my mind when I wrote that.
That's why you also have to be very careful. You know, sometimes you are in a particular, or we have something going on, and people just like to give interpretation to it. For instance, you could hear that, okay, someone is struggling with something. Then they post something, probably just want to inspire another person. Oh, it's because I heard that she's going through this and she's going through that. So I think that people would always like to, and that's why the whole idea of over-explaining becomes annoying, because you realize at the end of the day, people will hear what they want to hear.
True.
They would see what they want to see.
Don't even bother.
They will read what they want to read.
Don't even bother.
Someone sees it and they're like, And you know, there are these agenda setters. There are people who always know how to twist things and who always wants to twist things so that it fits a particular narrative. And so they are always out there trying to say, oh, you're saying this and it means this, or you're saying that and it means that. So, I mean, for me, it just makes me realize you really need to mind your business. And when I say mind your business, like just pay attention to what you're doing, and that alone. If you're going to focus on everyone else's opinion, because I've seen people give facts on things that are untrue, like they can literally give you evidence on something that does not even exist. And you're wondering, how did you even come up with all of this? I mean, I'm sure you've heard something about yourself and you're wondering,
a lot.
Do I have a twin sister somewhere?
Do
I know someone? Is there another Natalia somewhere that I'm not aware of?
A lot.
And the way they'll say it, even you believe it. Like, you know it's not true, but you're like, oh, wow.
So I think, we all have to get to that point where we really shouldn't be bothered much.
And especially if you are out there, you'd have to build that in you where, okay, if people listen to me, people look at me. And that's where sometimes you have some celebrities saying, I'm human too. Because something happens, they retaliate sort of verbally, and then people are telling them, no, you need to calm down, you are an influencer, people look up to you, and then they also say, well, it doesn't mean that because I'm out there, I'm
human too.
Exactly.
But you need to find, there has to be a method to your madness. I mean, listen, when I started TV, because I've always been a radio person. I love radio. When I started TV, I realized that Charlie, it's a different world altogether. And especially because maybe social media will post a video, and in the beginning I'll go and read comments, and oh my God, that day I can't eat, like my stomach, oh my God, there's something just going through my stomach. But then I stopped reading comments for things. Like, I don't do that anymore. I don't care what you're saying, whether it's the nice thing or not, because sometimes I'll go through the comments and I'll see someone write a negative comment, and right underneath I'll see a positive comment, and I'll say, tell him. And I'm trying to find like the different angles that it makes sense. And I realized, but why am I taking myself through this mental turmoil? Why would I do that? So I stopped. I don't do that anymore. I see things and I just let it go. My interest, however, is growing my show. So I'm always looking for avenues to grow my show on TV. And it has nothing to do with what anybody feels or thinks. Like, I'm over it. Yeah. Because if you do that, yes, you are human. And if you say something negative about you, the thing about your mind is once you see something, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
There's no delete button anywhere, And for me, for that reason, I'm very mindful, even the things I watch on social media.
Yeah.
Like, I've set my algorithm in a way that, Charlie, I won't be seeing. Sometimes, I'm hanging out with people and they are watching gory stuff.
Yes.
And I'm like, hey, how'd you do it? I can't, because your mind is so powerful. Once you see something, you can't
I think
unsee
on TikTok there was this time where there were some keywords. Once you type, it brings you very horrible pictures. I've forgotten what it is.
No way. That cannot be my reality. And whatever it is your mind takes in, it has a way of influencing your day, right? And sometimes people go around, just going through their day or going through life, and they are so on edge, right? And sometimes it gives you anxiety, because you have seen something and your mind is, processing it. And sometimes you feel like, oh, could this happen to me? This and that. And Charlie, that level of anxiety, ain't nobody got time for that. Dabby.
And the interpretation we give to a lot of things, sometimes they stem from our environment. I've seen people react differently to the same
experiences.
thing. and it's because you probably are exposed to something. I know someone that if you shout at the person, they'll just think, oh, you're angry, you get over it. Someone too will take it so personally because they probably have been in environments where once someone is shouting and yelling, it's so you need to guard yourself.
True.
Essentially, you need to guard your mind, because how you see things is really how you perceive them. It's not really about the situation, but the interpretation you give to it.
True.
So if I come in and Natalia is moody, and because of that I also become moody because Natalia is moody, it's really me doing something. It's not Natalia. Natalia decided to be moody. It's not my fault. So I think that, as you said, you should be able to guard yourself, guard your mind, especially when you are someone who is also famous. Even you don't even have to be there, because even in your own small world, you would always have people that have varying opinions about you and your life and what they've heard and what they think they know and what they don't know and what they know. It can be a lot. So there is that for Efia Odo. And there is also Funny Face trending. He released a video where he was sort of threatening Medical and Shatawale. Why, we don't really know, but the little I got from the video is that Shatawale sort of promised him something and didn't come through with it, and so he was upset. And I think that there are also people saying that there's still the baby mama drama in it and all of that, and so he's trending for that. But for me, in this story, it's not even just about him, but it brings me to the whole issue, since we are celebrating, stuff that have to do with mental health awareness and World Suicide Prevention Day and all of that. It's so important. It is so important that people recognize that even the little things count. I have had discussions with people where once it comes to mental health, once it comes to stuff that have to do with your mind, psychology, counseling, therapy and all of that, they think your parents have to die first, or you have to have had some very serious issues. But what they don't realize is that even your ability to take those big issues starts little. So someone doesn't, let me say, maybe a child, and then they pick up something. A friend of mine told me a story of the fact that he has a godson who stole money from his mother's bag, and then she saw it, they are bougie sort of. She saw it and she was very upset, and then she hit him. She's never hit him before. This is a child who'll be probably around 6, 7. She hit him, and then she called my friend on the phone. And she was crying and she was like, why is he doing this? I don't understand. I didn't raise him like that, blah, blah, blah. And was like, oh, relax, I'll just talk to him, all of that. So they were playing video games, just playing and all of that. And he was like, why did you take money from mommy's bag? And he said, well, because if I ask her, she wouldn't give me. And so in my school, I realized that anytime I'm going for lunch, he's not going for lunch. So I think it's because he doesn't have money. And if I ask mommy, she would ask me so many questions. So I just decided to take money. So he took money because he realizes that every time he's going for lunch, he has a friend or a classmate who's unable to do so. And when he asks a classmate, these are choices, I don't have money, that's why I don't go. So his immediate reaction is, since money is a problem and I don't have problem with money, where I see money, I'm going to take it. So he's not even spending the money. He's taking it and then he's giving it to his friend. And then he was like, oh, okay, so that's what I do. So he explained it to his mom, and she was like, oh, she didn't know that. Now she was feeling so bad for having hit him without, asking questions and all of that. I know that we are in a society, especially where they say Gen Zs are soft, they're weak, and that we grew up under very harsh conditions and we're able to survive. What you don't know is that, and I'm not saying for all millennials, but for some of them, most of them even, that experience and not having dealt with that has been poured kind of on us, and then we have had to deal with it. And then we're also the generation that wants to sort of sever ourselves from the experiences of our parents. And so you have a lot of people going for therapy, you have a lot of people, and you hear someone sharing their experience, and the immediate reaction is, our parents will not even have cared about something like this. You guys are just softies. But I don't think it's about being soft. I think that we need to check the smallest things. Because for this story, for instance, the boy didn't even think he'd done something wrong. If he had not had someone explain to him that, okay, you know what, you tell mommy that I want to help a friend, and so I need extra money. You don't go stealing. And then mommy doesn't start thinking she's doing a very bad job raising you because you are stealing out of nowhere. It's important. The very little things. This is not the same generation. And the alphas that are coming after us are certainly not going to be like us and everyone else. So we cannot expect that just because our parents were walking how many kilometers and they were being beaten to a pulp by their parents. If you do the same thing to us, we are going to be. It's important. Mental health is important. Suicide prevention. And you you know the statistics show that a lot more men are more inclined to commit suicide than women.
Yeah.
And the answer I have always said is because me, if something happens to me, I know who to call. Like I really know who to call. I know who to call. I know who to say, oh, you know, I need this, I need that. But for a man, Becca said 2 marks so, and I say, yeah, you may experience
men are not supposed to be emotional,
and we are not saying that you should be soft, and we are not saying that it's a characteristic of someone that is soft. But you need to have people in your corner that you can share stuff with. I mean, I've met people, men, and I've told me you actually need therapy. Like this thing that you are telling me, I don't have any solution for you. You need to seek you need to seek professional help.
It is how people react about the idea of therapy.
Yeah.
It feels to them like and also
like a white man's thing.
Like
I'm too black for certain things. I've even heard that.
Yeah, what is that? You know, it's for me that is that reaction I get. And I feel like people don't even understand. You know, the every 40 seconds in the world, every 40 seconds, one person
dies
by suicide.
Wow, that's serious. In the world, I didn't even know that.
Every 40 seconds, one person dies by suicide in the world. And these numbers are staggering. You know, like we can't even, it's not even a light conversation to have. It is so important. And I feel like if we're all being honest, we have all gotten to a low, like a very uncomfortable low in our lives where we felt like, is this even worth it? Is all of this really worth it? Like, what am I still doing here? You know, should I just, you know, and everybody has been there at one point or another.
Yeah.
It is to know that life really is like a roller coaster, like they say. You will have your highs and your lows. It is how you handle them, right? Because people also can't deal very well with the highs. You know, it is why people who have bipolar struggle, because then you need to be able to handle both your highs and your lows. Find a very good balance for it, so that your mental health, for me, I feel like your mental health is more important than even your physical health. Because once you lose your mental health, nothing else makes sense. You lose everything. You can't find a balance. And we have seen people who struggle with their mental health and how difficult, even though we haven't lived a mile, we haven't walked a mile in their shoes, but we can tell from a distance how difficult it is for them to put it together. You know, 1 minute they're okay, another minute it's like, whew, explosion.
And I always say that for them, sometimes, you know, you are looking at it on the outside and you can tell, oh, 1 minute they're like, for them it's even more unbearable because they can feel themselves getting happy and then they can feel themselves sinking and they can feel that sort of burden. Or people are going to think that I'm always doing too much. And I always say that for people who feel like that, it's a lot harder on the one feeling it or experiencing it than it is for them to even tell the other person.
True.
Like you seeing it on the other side, think, they are always, I'm feeling bad for them, but you have no idea how they feel even moving from that point, one point to another. Being happy 1 second and being sad the next second and sort of thinking, I have my life together or I have things together, and then the next minute is like you are losing everything. Like that change is not something that a lot of people can handle, and that's where you have things like suicide and all of that, and some of the things that you hear people kill themselves for. I heard a story of one of the billionaires in the world, and they had one of their youngest children. One of them died. She committed suicide. She was found in.
She died by suicide.
She died by suicide. And I was telling my mother about it, or was it my mother or someone like that? And the person was like, "Hey, you know, like sometimes you make it look as if they have to have a certain problem that we all can see that you have this issue. Then we can put some sort of explanation to it. So she was poor. That's why she killed herself. She was sick or something. But if you look like you are fine, and you even ask for help, sometimes it feels as if you don't even have the right to ask for help because you don't have regular problems. You don't have to think about paying school fees. You don't have to think about paying this. You don't have to think about paying that. If you look at South Korea, their statistics, they have one of the highest suicide rates. A lot of it is committed by students who are trying to get into college, university, because getting into university in South Korea is extremely difficult. You have to put in long hours of learning. You have to get extra tutors. You have to get all of that. And some of them don't make it and they kill themselves. And I'm thinking, well, I will cry or maybe I will feel bad or something, but I wouldn't kill myself because I couldn't get into school or I couldn't do anything. So that should tell you that we don't get to determine what's important to someone
and what's not.
We don't get to decide that. We either decide to be there for them when they are telling us the experiences, because you would have to walk someone's shoes to be able to say, and sometimes you are not seeing it as important because you don't know the kind of life they have lived even before that. If you've had parents that have been extremely hard on you academically, if you are telling someone who's had probably lenience, where it's like, okay, so you didn't pass, so what? Is that a hard thing? But once you come from a certain family or once certain expectations are put on you, then it becomes a different conversation. So you don't get to tell someone what's important
and what's not. They need to make their own decisions.
Exactly. You get to be there with them. And then we need to allow people, express more, be more open about certain things. I know there is the whole fear that once we open up too much, we'll be breeding softies of some kind. People who are always saying, oh, my mental health is at stake, I need to take a day off. Well, the thing is that you would always have those people. Whether you open it or not, you would always have that. But it's important that we treat it with a bit of seriousness so that we can, have the stats change at some point.
At some point. That is wonderful. Thank you, Etornam. Thank you so
Natalia.
much. People need to find coping mechanisms. Things that will, because life will happen to you in ways that you don't expect, Charlie, some days you're having a good day, minding your business, and then something comes to slap you in the face. Unexpected, you don't know how to deal with it. People should always find a coping mechanism. I love music. I listen to music. And I keep saying, in my past life, I was a superstar. I was a big star in my past life. Now I can't sing. Oh, this life, dear Charlie. It's only talking level, Charlie. The singing, no. I couldn't, transfer it onto this life. Okay. So they say, well, you're on a speaking level.
Then in your afterlife, what would you like to come? So since that one was singing, this is talking, what will you do?
Writing. I'll be writing.
You'll be writing.
Yeah, I'll be an author. Yeah.
Why?
Oh, yeah, I said, Charlie, levels, no.
I know.
So.
Okay.
Thank you, Etornam.
Thank you, Natalia.
Tomorrow, Etornam will join us with trends. But yes, today.